Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Good af good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, audible.
Okay.
Sir, first I am going to introduce you. And sir,
Sorry.
I am going to introduce you. Tell about
Yeah.
tell something about yourself to students.
Okay. So you gonna introduce or you want me to introduce myself?
Sir, I will introduce you.
Okay. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Hello everyone. Good afternoon. I am TA of this class. I am going to introduce Professor Prasanna Bala Subramaniam. He is the founder of Akirah Analytics and Consulting Services. Talking about his professional working experience, he has a huge working experience in France, Philippines, Hong Kong, and Singapore. Also, he has managed resources and large-scale operations across the Jewish, London, Japan, Poland, and USA. Today, he will be taking your session of digital transformation. So, I warmly welcome him for, for this session.
Thank you. Thanks for the introduction. Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can.
Yes,
Okay. No. Okay. Good. So, anyways, I'm not new to IIM Kashipur. I'm kind of used to, the IIM Kashipur environment. I don't know how many of you have taken my session on unleashing the power of holistic consulting. It was an industry workshop that taken about Akira's four-step methodology. Not sure how many of you here have attended that session. Is anyone from here? No. Okay, okay. And all of you folks from the first year, right? If I'm not wrong.
no, sir. This is the second year.
Second year as well. Okay. I don't know if any one of you have had a conversation with me earlier with other sessions. I'm just seeing through some familiar names, but I couldn't find one. So that's why I'm asking.
So not a class session, but I was a part of your guest lecture that you had taken last year.
Okay. The UPHSC, if I'm not, oh, okay. The first guest lecture, right? The 3 hours
Yes,
where I'm introducing Akira's methodology. Okay.
and
Okay.
also the design thinking conclave. You also had.
Okay. DT conclave. Got it. Avinya, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Great. And we have, we have Jerin also here.
Yes, sir. Good
Hey,
afternoon, sir.
good afternoon, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you doing?
All well, all well, all well. After a long time, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Then I will quickly jump into the session. It's 2 minutes past 12:15. Just give me a minute. Let me know if you guys can see my screen.
Yes, sir. Visible.
Okay, cool. I will just skip about my company introduction and all that. We don't have time for that. But let's quickly jump into the session. See how I formatted the session is I will take you through the basics of digital transformation, right? So we need to understand the nuances of digital transformation, stuff like why, and also the other factors that revolves around the digital transformation. Okay. Then I talk about not too much in detail, but I'll introduce about Akira's four-step methodology. So it is a proprietary framework of Akira Consulting Services. So this is the methodology actually that we use for any kind of consulting assignments, also predominantly into digital transformation. And I would also like to share a quick case study about digital transformation in one of the industry that I will introduce later. But how Akira four-step methodology helped to form a strong digital transformation roadmap, 5-year roadmap for that organization. That's the presence of that company is in the Gulf region. So that is in nutshell about this overall session. So close to 75 minutes we have. So I'll take about say 50 to 60 minutes and keep 15 to 20 minutes for any questions. So I'll keep the floor open. If you have any questions related to digital transformation, then we can discuss in rest of the 15 to 20 minutes. Is that fine? Is this setup okay for all of you? Can I
Yes,
get
sir.
some yes or no in the chat? I want to see some yes or no in the chat.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All fine? Okay, good. Okay, now, folks, let's keep it quite interactive. Okay, so let's not be a one way or a monologue only from my side. Let's keep it, as much as interactive as possible for you to understand about this whole concept. And even if you're able to make use of one or two tools that we discussed today, I mean, I think that's a success of the session. So with this, I will jump into the first question. What is digital transformation from your perspective? Don't worry about wrong, right? Because everyone has to start from somewhere, right? There is some starting point. Even for me, I've started somewhere. Before that, I don't have any idea about digital transformation. So what is digital transformation? If you don't want to, unmute yourself and answer or share your point of view, it is not a question and answer session. But if you want to share your thought process, you can also put it in the chat window. What is a DX, digital transformation? From your perspective.
Digital transformation means the using the digital technologies to fundamentally change how a business operates. Basically, delivers value to customers and competes in the market, I can say.
Okay, good. Okay, so throughout this session, I do really appreciate it. What's your name? I'm sorry, I couldn't see your this one in the window. What's your name?
Sir, this is Jyotirmohan.
Jyotima. Okay, good. That's a good answer, right? So throughout session, let's not do any internet searches or chat GPT. Let's keep it away. Let's be fresh on your minds, okay? So I could also see from Anshata Roy that the process of integrating digital technologies into all areas of business. Yeah. So fundamentally, what is a digital transformation is, slides are not working. Sorry about that. Just give me a few seconds. Okay. So yeah, I mean, most of you have, been in the process as well. So digital transformation is nothing but in the integration of digital technologies into all areas of the business, resulting in the fundamental change to how the business operates and delivers value to the customer, obviously, right? And why DX is the question that we need to ask. Why? Why should we do digital transformation? Next question. Because digital transformation is a huge amount of effort is invested, right? And there is a lot of investment in terms of money, people, energy, so on and so forth. So why should we need to have a digital transformation in place? Predominantly, why you use technology is to make our life simple as that, right? So to stay competitive, efficient, customer centric, resultant in fast changing world. So today, whatever business that we do currently, right? You take even, a smallest of a business, right? Even in a tea shop, we could see, charging, so on and so forth, right? There is a digital transformation happening, right? So we have an app where you, use the app to kind of order for a tea and the tea reaches to us, right? So digital transformation has become a most essential fundamental thing currently to change the business, essentially to make sure that it makes our life simple, right? So that's something, and of course, right, it has other benefits as well. So the next question is, from your perspective, where do you feel the digital transformation is applicable. Or let's say, I'll ask this as two parts, right? This question. What are the areas where you feel the digital transformation is applicable? First question. And say, what are the areas that digital transformation is not applicable? So let's start with what are the areas that digital transformation is applicable? When I say areas, it could be industry, right? So from your perspective, can you just type in what are the areas you feel the digital transformation is applicable? Industries. Can be some of the industries where it is applicable. Okay, food, automobiles. Here we go. Nega is here. Okay. Hi, Nega. Automobiles, retail. Jyoti is here. Okay. What else? What are the other industry? Retail. Okay. Logistics, very much. Healthcare. Yes, absolutely. Banking. Superb. Superb. I think we got a handful of industries. Do you think anywhere the digital transformation is not applicable? Any industry where it is not applicable? Or you feel like, there are certain industries, right, where you feel like, is digital transformation still applicable for these industries, right? It's kind of, we scratch our head. So what are those industries that you feel that, digital transformation is not applicable, or you feel like, is it challenging to have digital transformation? Any guess? Wild guess. Don't worry about right or wrong. Just a guess. Construction. Okay, good. Even I had the same thought, construction. Any other industry? Agri, okay. Construction, agri, handcraft and artwork, okay. Fair enough. There are industry, yeah, still it remains like a myth in terms of, digital transformation still not applicable. It was also one of the industry where I felt digital transformation. How do we make sure the digital transformation is applicable? So that's a case study that I'm going to talk about a little later. Good. So I think to an extent, if we understand digital transformation is possible across the industry, it's just that we need to find the ways and means. For example, construction also, I was thinking how digital transformation is applicable. Then I had a conversation with a couple of experts from the asset management group. Still, they are doing a great job. Even Industry 4.0 is applicable in digital transformation implementation. Jerry, yes, Jerry.
Sir, in the construction industry, also in certain parts of the value chain, at least digital transformation and its
Still
aspects
not.
can be. Right.
Still not applicable, yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Similarly, sir, agriculture also, we had a case study where tech was getting integrated in agriculture in certain aspects. So
Yeah,
that is.
but agriculture, if you look at it, they have come a long way. There's one agro fintech company where we help them to design their process and product. They've come a long way. And today there are many case studies for agricultural operations. But still, likely you said, the number of case studies as possible is still challenging, but people are still, exploring different ways possible to implement digital transformation. Okay, now these are all the 4 pillars of digital transformation. I'll talk about it, why it is very important, right? And I'll talk about some of the experience that I had gone through during the digital transformation journey. What were the challenges? What were the opportunities? How did we use Akirah's 4-step methodology? So on and so forth. But the most important 4 pillars we can talk about is the technology transformation, process transformation, cultural transformation, business model transformation, right? It is all available over the internet. It's not something new that I'm talking about. But yes, of course, if we are able to have a proper framework, right, to maneuver through these challenges, digital transformation is still applicable. First and foremost thing that I'll talk about is the processes transformation. You know, one of the I mean, I'll talk about the same case study, okay? So I'll introduce the case study later, but I talk about the challenges now. So these guys want to build a 5 year digital transformation roadmap. But when we used Akirah's 4-step methodology to understand the current processes, there were a lot of gap. There are close to 10 departments. If you look at these 10 departments, they are not speaking to each other. They are working in silos. There is no well-written SOPs or KPIs within the department, which is internally for them, and also to the external, vendors or the government organization. I'm talking about the case study in ONGC. So they don't have a proper KPI, right? But if you don't have, well-written process or well-structured process internally, first of all, how do we go for a digital transformation? Because that is the first layer of a digital transformation. That's where it has to start. So if you look at the pillar of the digital transformation, right, the pyramid of digital transformation, it talks about digitalization, and then comes the digital transformation. Digital transformation is the top of the pyramid, right? But unless and until if the foundational things are not there, and how do we use a digital transformation, right? So process transformation, even before process transformation, actually this is one step next to the bottom layer, right? First of all, people need to have the proper well-written KPIs, SOPs in place, and even internally within the department, people have to speak to each other. Only then the data comes into the picture. What is the technology transformation? Of course, this next level, I'll talk about the business model transformation. So next comes the business model transformation. So once the fundamental things like standard operating procedures, KPIs, SLAs, all in picture, then comes the business model transformation, right? Wherein you look at the current processes, understand how it's supposed to transform, then do a process re-engineering, then we make the process best fit for the current environment. So that's where the business model transformation happens. So when the business model transformation has to happen, then there is a cultural and organizational transformation also happen. If you look at many organizations, right, when I talk about not the tier 1 organization, bigger brands, even in bigger brands to an extent this happens, right? But all the mid-tier organization, the MSMEs of that sorts, right? Manufacturing especially, their culture has to adopt with the digital transformation. Unless and until there is a cultural transformation, people are quite happy enough in using and applying the processes, using the right tools and techniques, right? The organizational transformation cannot happen. So to an extent, the organization also have to be culturally fit to move towards a digital transformation, because if this does not happen, then it's like poles apart. You may have a great strategy, you may have the great digital transformation initiatives happening, but culturally people internally are not adapted to the culture, then marrying people with the technology cannot happen. So to an extent, the cultural impact also happens. So there should be an organizational transformation. Last comes the technology transformation, wherein you have the latest of the technology comes into the picture, choosing the right tech stack, right? And what are the cloud areas that I will pick, so on and so forth, all comes later. Whether you use a ERP, CRM, right? And workflow optimization, implementation of workflow, RPA initiatives, all that comes later. But this is the fundamental aspect of having a digital transformation. And I would call this a 4 pillars. There are 5 pillars, 6 pillars, but these are all the basic 4 pillars that's supposed to be exist in the organization for the next level transformation. Digital transformation have to happen. So is there any other question here before I jump on to the next slides? Okay, if none, then I'll go to the next slide. So what are the key, output? So any digital transformation involves energy, investment of people time, right? And investment of dollars, or whatever, INR or euros into the organization, right? So what is the major output that you're looking at? One, of course, the operational efficiency. So involving a digital transformation needs a operational efficiency, revenue uplift, and of course, companies look at the market share. Let's look at some of the small digital transformation. Can anyone talk about some not very big but small business transformation where it has really impacted the lives of the people? One such example. Can we talk about UPI, the payment gateway, right? So implementation of UPI earlier, of course, right? It seems to be really impossible to implement UPI. But once UPI has been implemented, if you look at the operational efficiency, it is not just 30% range. If you look at before and after implementation of UPI, it is like 100 to 150% is the operational efficiency. When I talk about operational efficiency here, any operational efficiency, talk about the flow of the value, right? For example, in a bank, what is the value? Value is money. Money flowing from the banking system to the people hand, right? And again, money flowing from the people hand to the banking system. Let's take automobile. Many of you have talked about automobile. So what is in an automobile? Whether it's a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler, how fast the product is moving to the customer is the operational efficiency, right? And UPI is a clear example wherein the money flows within a second. Let's think about the days where, without UPI, right? We need to have physical cash. And once we give the cash, they need to give us the change, so on and so forth. We need to carry the cash, right? So all this were a challenge, right? Before UPI. That's one form of digital transformation. Likewise, we can talk about many digital transformation. I'm talking about simple things. I'm not talking about very big digital transformation. Can you also talk about one more digital transformation which made our life simple? I can give you a clue. When we travel on the road, this particular digital transformation is impacting our lives. What is that?
Google Maps.
Okay, Google Maps. But let's say you want to go from Kashipur, let's say, to your hometown, which is like 500 kilometers you are traveling. When you travel from city to city, what is that blocks you? From city to city, you need to pay for something, right?
Yeah, the toll.
Toll plazas, right?
Yeah,
Fast
So
tag.
fast, I
FASTag.
guess.
FASTag is other digital transformation, right? So think about the, FASTag. Shishanta said, okay. So others also mentioned about FASTag, right? Think about the life before FASTag and after FASTag. Before FASTag, if I have to travel from my city, Chennai, to my hometown, Madurai, right, there used to be a long queue of vehicles during the auspicious days like Diwali or Pongal when we have to travel, right? We used to wait for like an hour and a half to get past the toll gate. But today, just fraction of a second, right? Think about operational efficiency today. So here, what is operational efficiency? Operational efficiency in the road transport is nothing but people moving from one location to another location. That's where efficiency comes into the picture, right? So when it is a digital transformation, it is the efficiency of movement. In every industry you talk about, there will be efficiency of a movement. Automobile, right? Agri. So what are we trying to do in agri? It's again the product, how fast it could move to the other place so that it is not stored in the storing place for a longer time, right? So digital transformation, the first and the foremost result, it talks about operational efficiency. Operational efficiency is nothing but the movement. Faster time to market, they call it as. One of the metric is faster time to market. That is achieved through digital transformation. Of course, right? When you look at all this means the revenue also have to go up. UPI, before UPI, the banks make the street vendors not eligible for loans. Today, they have a bank account. They are very much eligible for loans, right? and all money has become transactional inside the banking system. There is a less physical flow of, there is a less flow of physical notes. And of course, overall, it increased the faster time to market. And 40 to 60% is very less. But if you look at the UPI, FASTag and all that, the faster to time to market is much higher. 80 to 90%, even beyond that. Clear? Fair enough. Any other questions here? So a digital transformation is as the measurable business outcomes. So when we talk about measurable business outcomes, everything should have a metric. For example, after you see all this case study, tomorrow, you join some organization and you want to bring the digital transformation issue. You could be a part of banking. You could be a part of automobile, agro, fintech. It doesn't matter, right? End of that, you need to create a meaningful metrics which transform the business is very, very important. And the metrics that I'm talking about here is not restricted only to these three metrics. You could also talk about other metrics like how easy the life becomes, right? It's customer CSAT, right? And other metrics like how much of energy saved, how much of carbon emission have been cut down, right? All these metrics could also be a part of the digital maturity or digital transformation initiative. Okay, when we go with the digital transformation initiative, trust me, it is not an overnight achievement. It cannot happen overnight. And that the case study that I'm going to share it with you will give you a feeling of how long was that time. So when we have to move into the digital transformation initiative or transforming the entire business using digital initiative, then it is not an easy job in an unmatured system, right? So what are the different things that impacts or a barrier to the transformation is, of course, first and foremost is the processes. So like I said, the foundational aspect of any digital transformation initiative is the processes. Today, people talk about a lot of, see, I come from a process industry, so I can still vouch for processes, right? You take any amount of, AI, ML coming into the place, bigger technologies coming into the place, right? Unless and until you have a strong processes, implementation of any technology will be always a challenge. Simple processes that I'm talking about. Let's say in your college system, somebody wants to get an admission. So I think this is the process that I've talked about during the UPHSC. So when somebody have to apply for it, right, there are different processes that's involved. First, they need to submit the marks, and then there is an evaluation happens from the academic committee. Then you call for the interview, so on and so forth. So these are all processes. Let's say there is no processes at all and nobody is following the processes, how chaos the system becomes, right? So processes become the fundamental foundational aspect of any digital transformation because that is where the actual digitization happens. Still in many MSMEs, I could find there is no SOPs. People come, start the production, and then the business happens, so on and so forth. But where is the processes? People have to follow the processes. Only then you will be able to collect the historical data. When we talk about digital transformation, it is all about historical data. How much of an historical data that you could collect so that the data goes into the cloud or IoT, whatever, and then you use a ML ops, machine learning ops to slice and dice the data and take an information. But if you have to go to that level, and if you don't have the processes, right, how would you be able to go to that level? That is completely impossible, right? Then the strategy comes into the picture, right? How would I go there? What is my different strategy? How's the change management happen? Still, if you look at many, bigger organizations of 2,000 crores to 4,000 crores, the biggest barrier is, strategy. Reason being, most of these companies are all family-owned companies. So when it starts with the great grandfather and then comes to the father and then now the son who's running the entire organization. So the earlier generations, they always have resistance towards the change management. So strategy is very, very important. And then comes the people, right? We can't really badmouth about people, because if there is a right strategy in place, there will be right processes in place. If there is a processes in place, then the awareness to the people happens. And last comes the technology, outdated technology, so on and so forth. So I would say 4 main barriers would be legacy systems, siloed culture, resistant to change, very important. So during my advanced digital transformation, advanced analytics and digital transformation strategy, we talked about the resistance to change, how people move from the organization culture from L1 to L5. So the biggest change is also people, because without people, we cannot implement any kind of great technology, because people has to adapt the technology. People has to be trained to adapt to the technology. The proper awareness has to go to the system. So it cannot happen overnight. It takes time, because cultural transformation is nothing but the mindset transformation. Okay. And of course, lack of digital talent, unclear return on investment, strategy alignment, so on and so forth. So in major, when we go on a digital transformation roadmap, these 4 things have to be taken care. Otherwise, the digital friction will be higher. So that's why, when we start with any digital transformation roadmap or a journey, we first send out surveys, digital transformation surveys, understand the mindset, emotion of the people, how do they take digital transformation, and then we build technology. It's not that, we build technology and then go to the people. The first step that we're supposed to do is go to the people, understand the current culture, how people foresee digital transformation, and then technology comes later. Any questions so far? If not, okay. Now I will introduce. Okay, okay. See, this is Akira's 4-step methodology. Like I said, this is one of the transformation methodology that we use across industry. It is industry agnostic approach, and companies of any scale. It does not have any restriction in terms of the overall turnover, and digital transformation roadmap, building a proper roadmap is where we use. So what is so special about this transformation framework is, one, it looks the business from 5 different ways. This we built basically from the experience that we had in the past 30 years in the consulting industry. I myself come from a core consulting industry, and then other colleagues of mine also coming from the core consulting industry. We all kind of cherry pick the best tools and techniques. It also helped us to overcome one of the challenges. When we started Akirah in 2023, we were thinking, right, which industry are we supposed to serve? And the clear answer was, we will remain as an industry agnostic company. But, we are not having a great muscle power like bigger organizations, right? When you talk about the tier 1 companies, the likes of PwC, McKinsey, or BCG, KPMG, right? We don't have the muscle power to deliver different frameworks for different industry. So that's when we thought, let's have one framework, one size fits all. So this framework should kind of help transform different industries. So let's say if there is a call from an agro-fintech company or a product company or a manufacturing company, right? Do I get into the system, scratch my head and see how am I going to transform this problem or solve the problem? Transformation comes later, but how do I solve the problem? Right? I can't do that. We cannot afford to do. Then we said, like, let's build one framework, and that one framework kind of helps to solve the problems across industry. I'm sure a few of your colleagues here have already attended the session called Unleashing the Power of Holistic Consulting, where I gave them a hands-on experience in using these frameworks to assess the problem, build a solution, kind of pitch to the client, so on and so forth. So it has 20+ proven tools and techniques, kind of scalable across the organization, Today, if someone has to come out with an answer to build a technology-based solution to solve the problem, then Akira four-step methodology gives them a strong business case. You take any kind of AI adoption to implementing IoT, Industry 4.0, anything, this gives them an answer across industry. This is how it's been framed. It's close to 250 pages of report. It is not that for all the organization we go for an in-depth report. Even there are certain organization comes to us where they just need 1 or 2 report. For example, I'm going to go for a manufacturing company's assessment next week. For them, the clear indication is I don't want to report more than 2 pages. Still, Akira four-step methodology works. So let me show how we used to build the use case. Just give me a minute, I'm sorry. So this is a nutshell that we try and do. I just give you 2 minutes for all of you to just quickly glimpse through the snapshot. This class is until 1:30, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, fine. So all the 5 lenses come here. This is how we assess the business, and then we kind of come up with the solution. So with this, I'll quickly jump into the compass stack. Just in a minute. Can you bear with me for a minute? Let me open another slide. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So this is an ONGC client. Actually, it's one of the biggest, supplier of gas in the Gulf region. I cannot expose the client name, but they come up to us to, build a strong digital transformation roadmap for 5 years. And the interesting fact here is when they came to us, they already worked with #1 consulting organization in building a similar digital transformation roadmap, but they were not very happy. But once the digital transformation comes into the picture, everything is system. Even to an extent where the person can use handheld device. And the handheld device should actually trigger the surge. And then the proactive measures to match the demand and then increase reliability of supply. So what happens in this case, right? Typically, when we were able to understand the surge of certain period of time in a year, it really helps them to do a forecasting management plan in the future years to come. In future, they don't have to be too reactive, right? They'll be able to understand in a particular year, given a year, which particular month there is a surge. If there is a surge, how do I proactively getting ready for fulfilling the surge? Where should I procure the material and then supply to our customers? All this comes into the picture when we have a proper digital transformation track. So all that we talk about digital transformation, 80% is the real-time data. how the daily system works, how the outflow information, how the transmission system happens, how much is the gas inventory at this point in time. So they have a well-structured transformation digital initiatives. End to end. And this is what we talked about IoT sensors that goes through the SCADA data. SCADA data is the most important data for industry intensive, asset intensive industries. How do you use the proper robotics in place? This is part of Industry 4.0. It also talks about robotics. Now there is Industry 5.0 coming into picture. So when I talk about quality, I'll talk about these revolutions. So first revolution, second revolution, third revolution. We were in the fourth revolution, which is Industry 4.0. I think there is going to be the fifth revolution, which is Industry 5.0. Typically, this is what happens. Data coming from different areas. There is AI is already available, but if you take generative AI, we can't say generative AI as a standalone as a digital transformation initiative, right? Generative AI is one of the use case available. It is one of the solution available, like a chat GPT, perplexity, right? So we have so many such AI ML use cases available. So I would consider, at least for me, generative AI is one of the use case available, but then we are the one who have to pick the right solution use case to bring the digital transformation initiative. For example, you are going for a digital transformation assignment for a banking tomorrow, and you want to transform the entire onboarding operations. Let's say credit card onboarding operations or bank account onboarding operations, right? Then you can use generative AI as one of your solution use case in making sure how in the entire value stream of onboarding the customers, different steps involved in onboarding the customers, how do I use generative AI so that, let's say, 30–40% of the manual work is being taken care by that generative AI. So that there is a kind of minimal intervention by the humans or the banking staff. That kind of transforms the lives of the customer. Hope that answers your question. So in a nutshell, cutting the long story short, generative AI alone in silos is not a digital transformation initiative, but how do we use such use cases to transform the business goal is a digital transformation from a broader perspective. Any other questions? Please feel free to unmute yourself, or you can type in the chat window. Okay, if none, then I have only okay. I just want to understand. Hope it was an informative information for all of you. Just want to understand. You can type yes, no, whatever. Awesome. Thank you. And I want to know more about the Akira's four-step methodology, how it is helping in digital transformation area. I just want to show my screen. Just give me a minute. Can you see my screen? I just have one ask from you folks that if you scan this, it takes to our company page, and you guys can